Well, hello and welcome to Talk Time. And this week, we're going to be taking a look at many interesting things. I mean, we've heard about the controversy about benchmark. What are benchmarks? You know, some percentages, 30% and 50% and so on. What's all this about? What does the future look like with all of these controversies and debates? How would they affect prices? How would they affect Ghanaian manufacturing, trading, and so on? Welcome to Talk Time.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
Well, welcome back to Talk Time, and as I indicated from the beginning, this week we're going to be taking a look at some aspects of the 2022 budget, which is generating a lot of controversy, lots and lots of controversy. Everybody is talking about benchmarks. What are these benchmarks? What do they really mean? How are they going to affect trading? How are they going to affect manufacturing? How are they going to affect prices in 2022 and perhaps beyond? And we are especially privileged to have with us in the studio Dr. Joseph Obeng, who is the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association. So you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Master Kwesi. I'm highly privileged to be here with you.
We are so happy that you came to our studio.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now, this benchmark, what is it? What are we benchmarking?
Thank you very much for this question, because it's very important that your viewers got to the understanding of the background of the benchmark, so that when we are discussing, then they have a better perspective into everything. If you recall, you are an astute journalist. In time past, the complaints of the importer was duty boarding. We can't pay duty. Duty is collapsing our businesses. Our brothers and sisters in abroad will say, when we bring goods from abroad, the price is very small, but the duty that we pay surpasses even the product that we bought and all that. That was the major complaint, if you recall. Mm-hmm. And so it was becoming very unbearable. So we have to go and appeal to the Council of State that if care is not taken, we are being uncompetitive in the sub-region. Because why is it that we go to Togo, which is a small country? We have bigger importers here. We go to Togo and buy imported goods. We do not go there to buy manufactured goods. Togo is not a manufacturing hub. Mm-hmm. Because cost of doing business in Togo is far cheaper. We again go to Nigeria. Sometimes we go to Cote d'Ivoire. We are losing out of business to these sub-regional neighbors. And so the duty has become very unbearable. Then we put the figures on the table. So the members of the council said, is this what we have to contend with? They said, yes. Master Kwesi, if you give me the opportunity to give you some illustration.
You have all the opportunities, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have duty, about 3 sets of duty, maybe some of them 5%, 20%, 35%. But predominantly they are 20% and 35%. 20% for items like electrical products, hardware products, and the rest. And then we have 35% for tin tomatoes and some of the food commodities. And so if you are, your product is dutable of 20%, cumulatively, because they have to charge you the duty on your invoice import value. Mm-hmm. After charging it, then they compound it before they put it together to the invoice value, before they charge the VAT. Mm-hmm. And then they add the other levies that have lined up at the port, about 18 of them. That cumulates to about 15%. So cumulatively, an item that attracts 20% duty cumulates to 55%. And then that of the 35% also cumulates to 65%. So if I have to give you an idea of the calculation, the actual calculation, and I
so
should
actually, if you import something worth 20 cedis, you're going to pay duty of 20% on the 20 cedis.
Yeah.
And then you pay the other 18 levies and taxes.
Plus VAT.
Which brings it to about
55%.
55%.
Yeah.
So we are adding more than 10 cedis onto 20 cedis. So an item which should be 20 cedis can end up costing about 32 cedis.
Exactly. So normally
and your profit margin is not there.
It's not.
So you can earn about 35 cedis to 40 cedis.
Exactly.
When the actual price is about 20 cedis.
So the duty and the other levies have consumed more than half of your working capital, the capital you use to import. So normally I use 100,000 for simplicity of calculation, $100,000. So if you brought goods, maybe 240-footer container, that the invoice value is $100,000, then one have to go and fund $55,000 to pay these levies. And then that of the 35%, you have to go and find $65,000. It is unheard of in any part of the world. You are well traveled.
But in addition to that, you have to be paying handling charges, you have to be paying transportation from the port to your warehouse,
the clearing agent
warehouse charges, and so on.
Exactly. Those are on the side. But I'm talking about the mainstream charges. So Council of State, initially they confronted us. Why is it that every day you are making noise that government, you don't want government to get money to build a nation or what? That's what confronted us. When we put everything on the table, they said, is this what is you have to contend with all the time? Say, yes, this is what the trading community is going through, and then we are passing on to the consuming public. And so they say no. Then they led us to government. And then we call the commissioner, we call the minister, we call everybody to table. Then government also appreciated that if this is the reason, then there's no doubt that this is inducing smuggling and then some corruptible practices at the port. So let's do something about this. Initially, we had in mind that maybe they are going to reduce the duty rate for us. So government said that, no, we can't reduce the duty rate, but we will opt for discounting. So the discounting means that the invoice value, in this case I used $100,000. So we will discount it by 50%. So instead of you paying the 55 or 65% on the $100,000, we are now going to pay on $50,000 because we have halved it for you. In this case, things became so easy for us. Those who bring car also were discounted 30%. And so you see that the cars that normally they've written a Togo number on it, you know, it has
You don't see it anymore.
You don't see it again. It means that people are well cushioned and that they can bring this thing to the. When this came, government has been able to sustain its revenue target. We have exceeded 2019. We exceeded revenue target. 2020, the year of the COVID itself, we exceeded revenue target. This year, by the third quarter, we have exceeded. So that is not giving you any problem. So we heard that the AGI is lobbying government. And then AGI is telling government that because of the benchmark policy, it has made import so cheap in the market. And then our products have become so expensive, so we cannot sell our goods. So remove the benchmark. When they told government to remove the benchmark, then they appealed to government that please, we are also appealing that much as you are taking it off from the trading community, please, we want you to maintain it. We want you to maintain the same benchmark for us, because it's a good policy for manufacturing.
How?
How? Because there's a thin line between what we call manufacturing here and then importation. Because about 90% of their input of manufacturing is imported. You see, we have companies that are doing well, and Uncle Kwesi, we are patronizing. It's not that we don't like our country, because it does not even make sense for you to travel thousands of miles if you could get the goods here cheap here. It doesn't make sense for you to travel. There are some companies that are doing well, Uncle Kwesi, that it does not make it attractive for you to travel to buy those products. And we are buying them. Some of these items are the towels that they are making in Ghana now. Biscuits, some biscuits, they are so competitive, the price is good, it doesn't make sense for you to travel. Some pharmaceutical items and some plastic items, you know, we produce more in, so the Indians have so many here. And that is the essence. So it should be affordable, it should be attractive for us to buy so that we do no good. That's the essence. And so many of them are not able to be competitive. And these are the people who are loving government, that our prices are so high and that government should reduce. I'm going to see, let me tell you, we are in a global world. This global world that we are, it is not possible that we can produce everything in this world. Countries depend on the strength of other countries. So where other countries have strength in some areas, people go there and also enjoy those strengths. All that Ghana have to do is to identify the areas that we have comparative advantage, and then make those things a hub, a big hub, huge. Even China that we go, you go to one province and it is noted for batteries, because geographically it is convenient for that production and the price have become cheap. So it's not possible that we can be able to produce everything because we want to industrialize. It doesn't work like that. So you know the tiles that I'm talking about, you know the raw materials. The raw material of tiles is the clay that our grandmothers were using for Iowa. And this thing is mountains in Western region, in Kwawu, in Yasantu region, everywhere. This thing is there. And so they have a vast raw material. And so if government want to do, if you have a policy, a good policy, then we have to dwell on the area that we have comparative advantage. The raw materials are there, people have done it and it has succeeded, and then we encourage a lot more to do it. So if about 50 or 30 people are given the support by state-of-the-art machinery to go into this area, then Ghana is then noted as the hub of tiles manufacturing, and the rest of Africa will come and it will make us very rich. And this all that we are trying to tell government, and NGI is not even telling their own problem, because government industrialization drive does not mean talking. It means that we are creating an environment that will be conducive for your manufacturers to be competitive. That's all it means. It does not mean that my policy is I have to suppress import. It doesn't make sense. Even America does not suppress import. America, with all their might, import about 80%. And when we have their strength about 20%, they get the wealth of their resources from that 20%, where the rest of the wealth also grow and buy. That's the trend of globalization. And so, what the manufacturers should have been engaging government with is that cost of borrowing is so expensive. Whilst my competitor is is being charged 1% for his capital cost of capital acquisition, I'm being saddled with 22%. Cost of electricity and other utilities like water, fuel price. These are all the things that is militating against me. I don't have the state-of-the-art machinery, because we travel and we know the machinery that turns up 1 million units of production in an hour. And then you come here and their obsolete machines is turning out 50 units per hour. How can you be competitive? And this is what you have to learn up to government. But you do not say that government should do an arm twisting policy so that you have your way. Then I think we have failed the discourse. Because they are, the benchmark they are enjoying much as we are also enjoying, and it does not have any bearing with their own competitiveness. Yeah.
Well, viewers, we are in conversation with Dr. Joseph Obeng, the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association. We are talking about the controversy around benchmarks and so on. We're going to have a short break, and when we come back from the break, I'd like to find out what the government's real objective is and whether that objective is achievable. Short break.
Hello? Okay, why? My wife comes and send a message you. Hello? What's happened?
It's a chunk who's will be a quiet say what? A dear sir.
We signed for a friend. I'm so young. You are not testing messages here. And the office also. I'm trying to tell you, man. She says, I
mean, so we a guy manu and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Ghana.
what's it name? Family Dwelling Company Limited.
Here to borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be, Frey 0240 333 111 and NASA 0244 144 822.
Me and Pa and you want swimming pool on me see? Me want to will be here. Family dwelling now was family dwelling.
What fashion you shit?
Me out with that.
Well, hello and welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in conversation with Dr. Joseph Obeng, the president of the Ghana Union Traders Association. Now, sir, it's obvious that government wants to make money. There's a hole in the budget. They want to fill it. Do you think that what government is doing will fill the hole, will give government enough money to be able to do what it plans to do?
Then why is it that government will not also tell us that we are doing this because we need the revenue? Because a government is not able to say this because it has able to meet its revenue target with the same policy. So then the riddle is, why are we behind the AGI? Is it for the motive of revenue, or the actual motive being the fact that industries should thrive? Then we have to put it in right context. But if it is for industries, then the argument is hollow. And there's no basis for the call. Because this thing is going to actually cripple businesses. This is not the time even to do this. Don't forget that only last year, we supported government when they introduced new taxes. Do you remember?
Yes.
They increased VAT.
Yes.
And because the previous year of 2020, where government was tied because of the effects of the COVID, paying free electricity, paying free water and all that, we all sympathize with government. Did we talk about those increments?
No.
We supported government. But we are in the fourth wave of the COVID. The effect is getting so high. So this is not the time to further increase the burden.
But sir, the finance minister said that before they announced the measures, they consulted all of you, the stakeholders. So why are you now criticizing a measure that they claim that they designed with you?
No. That is where I find it difficult to understand. And why would somebody say that? Where it is, should I say it is not true? Because when AGA went to EMT to lobby government government out of its own wisdom said that no, we cannot listen only to AGI. So let's get the traders and also to come here to also give their perspective about the whole thing. And so I was called upon and I rushed into the meeting where these people were doing the PowerPoint presentation. And I was able, by the grace of God, to expose them, the lies that they were making to government. And they even said that, Guta also have a case. So in this case, we cannot take any decision unless we have thorough, because at this time it's not thorough consultation, because it's only me and the AGI. And so we have a broader stakeholder engagement. That's what EMT said. And you remember, I follow up a presidential economic dialogue at Kimpisi Hotel. Mm-hmm. The same topic came up at the questions time about the benchmark, and the senior minister himself also said that no, this issue have come, and because somebody want to make relevant in manufacturing, the people of Ghana have to be surcharged. So it doesn't make sense. So we want to make a broader stakeholder engagement. So it confirms what have happened in the EMT. And so this is what we are waiting.
So we are still waiting for the stakeholder
engagement. So how can you then come and introduce it at the brand side of us? They tried it once and we stood up, and then they reversed it, if you recollect. Mm-hmm. And then when we were sleeping, relaxing at the holidays, they brought it. So from the new year, the Christmas we spent there, but when the news came, the new year era, we did not spend the new year. We were crying. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because even now, we cannot pay at this dispensation. People find it difficult even to mobilize resources to clear their goods. And you know that this thing is high, on the high, auctioning. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a cartel. There are some vultures, hyenas, who want to feed on our sweat, and they've killed. They don't allow even one day to pass when the timeline passed. And then they'll say, we are here. So the duty that we were supposed to pay about 50,000 that you were trying to mobilize, and then time have escaped you, somebody will go and pay 5,000.
And collect your goods.
And collect the goods. And so we said that, hey, so if now I was paying 30,000, now some of our members started calling us, mm-hmm. and one was bringing chicken. Mm-hmm. And then he said that the first value they gave me, because the person have already gotten the value, he was going to pay this. He said, stop and pay this new after the reversal of the benchmark. Mm-hmm. 76,000 from 40,000 to 76,000. So how am I going to get this money? Then I have to leave it. So what it means is that
leave your capital.
Well, if you can't mobilize the distance, and sometimes,
but your business will collapse.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense, because if you pay the money, you have already committed, and when the goods come, you know that is perishable. So when the goods come and you overprice yourself, it means that you cannot sell and the goods will perish, and then you have also committed payment for duty. Then it's better and prudent that you keep the little money for yourself. You are gone.
But your business has collapsed.
It has gone, but you don't have option. That's the least option than to pay, bring it, and you can't sell, and with time,
then you are indebted also.
You are indebted. And that's why we even find it called advocacy. Naturally, somebody will say that, what is your problem? When the government have put on a tax, you pass it on to the final consumer.
But the consumer may not be in a position to pay.
Yes, but this time, we feel that we cannot do that. Because we are in the country, and now, because of the effects of the COVID, freight charges have gone up astronomically. Freight that we used to pay 3,000 have gone $15,000. From 3,000 to... World commodity prices like copper, metal, steel, PVC have all gone beyond 50%. So the volume that your money could have bought previously, maybe if you were able to buy 4 containers, Now you can't buy 4 containers, so you know why?
Of course.
And because now the 4 containers, you are going to use $12,000 for the freight. Now you have to go and find $60,000 for freight only. And so then you will be forced. And then the price, the unit price have also gone up about 50%. So your capital is halved. Before you were able to bring 4 containers, now you have to bring only 2 containers. Your capital is dwindling. The purchasing power of the final consumer is overstretched. So how can we put this burden again? Are they not human beings? And we are fighting COVID. We have to eat food. You have to eat food to energize your body before you can fight a disease, isn't it? Medicine is also part of the reversal of this benchmark. How can you increase the price of medicine when we are fighting a pandemic like this? It's not possible. It even go in contrast to the government's own efforts to combat the disease, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to eat and energize, and the price of food is going up the ceiling. It's not acceptable. So you know what? We are consumers as well as we are traders. Because once I'm selling electricals, I consume pharmaceutical products, isn't it?
Yes.
So how can I surcharge myself? How can I encourage this? Because whatever gain that I have here is going to be lost here. That is number one. Number two, the purchasing power of this final consumer have dwindled because of this increment, because it has reduced the purchasing power. If the person were able to buy 10 units of item, now because the price have gone up, he will buy about 2. My turnover have been affected. It means that the loan that I've collected at the bank, how do I service the loan? And if care is not taken, the banks will come for the goods that I'm not able to sell, auction it, and then I'm out of business. That's what it means. You have a supplier's credit.
They may even go for your house.
They may even go for your house. That is even worse. And then the supplier's credit that you have out there. Somebody have trusted you over the years, giving you credit. Now you use 90 days to pay. Now 6 months you haven't been able to pay. So when you pay, the next time you say, no, I cannot give you again. So it's not that easy for somebody to say that, oh, a government they just pass it on to the consuming public. We cannot do that.
Well, listeners, we are listening to President Joseph Obeng of the Ghana Union Traders Association, and we are talking about the issues relating to benchmarks and so on. We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, I'd like to ask them a question. We are hearing stories that there's likely to be a meeting between traders, manufacturers, and government officials. I'd like to know whether it is true, and if it is true, what are they taking to the table? Short break.
Ben, Cedria, Yatra, Mr. Kill. Straw shaming every time.
Oh, Kusia, a member draw, Kunu, Gaza Limited for Akofaba, the Piasso Bomitisu, and he said, because so much Madame for Adolf. And what Trevor said, a draw, a Mr. Kill, Nico Cosson, and he said, no, no, so
it's since time I have 1 million, and running down and put a service on your back.
Mr. Kill, Mr. Kill. Yeah. I don't have say that here, Mr. Kill. You should back up. And not the girl, you know, maybe the men come out. Mr. Kill,
I give you all a boy could give.
Welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in conversation with Mr. Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of Ghana Union Traders Association. And we are talking about, you know, the controversy, benchmarks, reduction, increment, its effect on the national economy, and so on. Now, Doc, I'm told that very soon there will be a meeting between traders, manufacturers, and government. Is that true?
Yeah.
And what is the agenda?
Well, I just had a call from the finance minister yesterday, and that we should come for a meeting at 12. So from here, I'm going straight there. And what we are going to tell government is that, please, we know you are sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians, and that you are not there to punish the good people of Ghana, especially in the wake of the COVID. And so we've supported you in the past year to bring taxes to help you shore up your revenue. At this time, we cannot take another layer of cost of doing business. We cannot sit down unconcerned when our businesses collapse. So please, government, we want you to hold on to the implementation of this policy, so that the stakeholder engagement that you promised us, we engage with all stakeholders, build the necessary consensus. The finance minister himself, 3 weeks ago, barely 3 weeks ago, had a press conference. I hope you read that. And what they said about the benchmark is that they know that this is going to have an adverse effect on the trading community as well as the consuming public. And so they are finding a mitigating factor that will cushion the plight of the trader. Has it been done?
No.
If this have not been done, how do you go ahead and implement this? Then how are you managing the people of Ghana? Their frustration, their challenges.
But did you expect the government to listen to you?
It depends.
We are going into this meeting. Do you think they are going to?
We are going to be frank on our discussion. We are going to tell the truth, as I've done to you. Maybe, Uncle Kwesi, maybe before I talk to you, you have a different perspective, because I know how you are when it comes to nationalism, so industrialization and all that. But sitting with you, probably you have also gotten the consent of the importer that we are not just bad, and that we are supplementing the efforts of the economy.
And the facts are very clear.
Very clear.
The facts are very
let me tell you, apart from agriculture, trading is the best, the biggest employer. Trading, followed by transportation. Look at it, analyze it. Where is the position of manufacturing? So we cannot kill the distributive sector. No country tries on unproductive distributive sector. So we can not kill the distributive sector, because it will not even help manufacturing. And so we believe that, government will listen to our plight. If probably they want to impose this on us, then of course, you see, there's one thing that you will demand from the people, and the another is that if the people have the capacity to also do it, that's what is going to bring a major conflict. Our people have started agitating, but leaders are trying dialogue. Whatever frustration that this will bring to bear to the trading community, the leader of the business community, cannot manage it. So whatever explosion that will come out of it will be as a result of the fact that something is being imposed on their will that is not going to help them, because we are also people of the. It shouldn't be said that government listen to some elitist lobbyist group who call themselves manufacturers, and then did not look at the plight of the greater majority of the trading sector. I don't think when you put it on a scale of economics, normally you put the two on a scale and you weigh it before any decision is taken. And then in that case, the judgment was not good on the part of government if they impose it on us, because it would have gone a long way to hurt us. And you see, the traders are not almost when you
Now, what if you go to this meeting and government tells you to go to hell? They refuse to listen to you. What are you going to do?
Oh, I wouldn't think any government would do that. Because when we are going for dialogue and you are pleading, we are not asking anything. What we are asking is that please engage with this. Let's build some consensus. Let's have some mitigating factor before you bring whatever thing that you want to bring. And government will say go to hell. I don't think
they will not say go to hell. They will say, well, you haven't made your point. We are not listening. We are going ahead.
In that case, we cannot manage the frustration of our people because they've started agitating.
Agitating for what?
I'm Kwesi.
Yes, sir.
I'm Kwesi.
Yes, sir.
You see, there are certain things that you do not even let it out. But at least you should also know that we are very rational to know that we should have some roadmaps in case this is happen. What next? And we have those things, and I think you leave those things for us. But normally, I do not want to sound threatening. Under my leadership, if you've taken note, I'm always trying because I find the reason and then engage it. And then I discuss it dispassionately. If you've taken your time and the issue, I make sure that I make a cogent discussion, and normally it takes me through. Because if I tell you all these things and you say you do not understand, then I find it difficult where your judgment is. And so we always try the diplomatic way. That's the best option for anybody, and I believe government also need it. Even at this time, what government need most is consensus building. I hope you know that.
Of course.
Engaging stakeholders, taking your time, and then everybody will follow you so that you will have your peace also to manage the country. But anything that will seem like you are imposing on the will of the people, in this case, a greater majority of the people of Ghana, we also have equal stake. They are given the mandate to rule, but we are being ruled, and we have equal say. And so they should also recognize that we are equal stakeholders, regardless of the fact that we are common traders. Thank you.
Well, another short break, and when we come back to our final round, I'd like to find out from Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of the Ghana Union Traders Association, what the other difficulties of traders are. The exchange rate does not appear to be going well. Fuel prices and so on. So what are the other difficulties, and how can we work around these difficulties to ensure that prices are kept at a certain minimal going forward? Short break.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Welcome back to Talk Time. And with us is Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of the Ghana Union Traders Association. Now, sir, beyond the benchmark, the increase in the benchmark and so on, what are the other difficulties that traders are facing? How is the exchange rate impacting on your business and so on? What are the other difficulties?
Yeah, these are the things that even I wrote in my a letter to government, and I added this same point that you are asking me, the exchange rate. So we are in a time that the exchange rate is also going up, and when we say that there's depreciation, all that it means is that a loss of capital. That's all that it means. It means that if first $100,000 is equal to $600,000, and that's what you use as your working capital.
Mm-hmm. 600,000 Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis. Now the exchange rate has gone up, and so it's about 650,000. Now you have to look. It has gone to 6.5. So you have to look for 650,000 before you can get the same 100,000. But you cannot get the same 100,000 with the 600,000 initially. So if you cannot get the top up of the 50,000, it means that you have to get a lesser dollar, maybe $93,000. So instead of buying one container, because your working capital is 100,000, that's what you use to buy. Now you cannot buy the same quantity again because your capital have dwindled by that much. That $7,000 is gone down the drain. That's all that it means when we say that the depreciation. Depreciation of the city simply means loss of capital. And so it is very important that when we are getting all these losses on our capital, then we put other costs on us, then business tend to collapse. Now we have other issues to contend with at the port. The shipping lines are extorting monies left, right, and center. Whilst the shipping cost, component of cost in clearing at Togo is 0.8 or so, that of Ghana is 6.8. The component of shipping cost, the shipping lines, the cost that they make us pay. We've complained to authorities and said that these people are extorting this from us and it's not helping us. We have not gotten any solution. We have made a committee that is evaluating the fees and charges at the port. All this compounds our frustrations, the rent charges and all that. And so we have these things also to contend with as importers and the trading community. But the worst of it all is capital acquisition, access to credit. Whilst our counterparts, you see that we are always crying that foreigners are taking it all. The foreigners are not wiser than us. Neither are they indigenous. They are generous in their the chosen trade of trade. If you look at the ingenuity of the Korus and other people for trading and all that, these people cannot even match up with this. But they are taking us out because of what? One factor. Whatever thing that they are bringing, they have assessed it at the cost of 1% and 1.5%. And we are sourcing it over 20%, 22% and all that. So you can use the 20% and wipe you out of the market. Cost of borrowing is the bane of businesses now. And
has it gone up?
Yeah, the interest rate has always been up. Even when government have reduced the policy rate and all that, the banks it does not pull down. It does not trickle down the interest rate, the commercial lending rates. So this is the problem that we always have to contend ourselves with. And that's why normally we do not even buy made in Ghana, because they do not even give us credit. They don't even have the money, the goods and the money to also give us credit. And it's easier to get the credit from our suppliers outside before we can survive. So all these things go against the trader, and Kwesi, this is the frustration that we find ourselves.
Well, what about fuel prices? They've also
they
been
all add up, because we're talking about, because goods do not come in isolation. If you are building your cost, you do not base your cost because your of the CIF value, and then you pay duty. After paying the duty, you convey the goods into your warehouse. You have to send some of the goods to your supply, your distributors and all that. All these things use transportation and then the fuel, and it goes with the cost. So definitely anything that adds up to cost, and when it's going up, it means that it's affecting businesses negatively.
Wow. Doc, thanks very much for coming to the studio. Thanks for explaining the issues to us. We do hope that after the meeting with government officials and manufacturers, we'll have the opportunity to talk to you again. Thank you very, very much for coming to the studio. Well, viewers, we're talking to Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of Ghana Union Traders Association. We're talking about the difficulties that traders are facing. We're talking about their impending meeting month, and we are hoping to be talking to him after that meeting. Please don't forget, keep your dial on Pan-African Television, the best television platform in Africa. The best in everything, the best in current affairs, best in everything. Keep your dial here until we meet again next week. Until then, it's goodbye from our director, Sewa, from the producer, George, and from everybody else, from cameramen led by Prosper and so on, from all of us at Pan-African Television. Goodbye until we see you again next week.